Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Civilization 6. Coming at you with a special Matthias of Hungary sub 200 science victory. That's right, you heard me correctly. Matthias of Hungary, Gathering Storm, Civilization 6, sub 200 science victory. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Now, before we get into talking a little bit about what you're going to see in the coming episodes, let's talk real quick about Matthias and what makes him so fantastic. All right? For him, it actually comes down to two abilities, which are easily two of the very best abilities in the game. Starting with Raven King, which I believe you could definitely argue is the greatest ability of any civilization and any leader in the game. Raven King allows you to levy units from city-states, of course, gaining the ability to give them 2 extra movement and plus 5 combat strength. In addition, it costs 75% less gold and resources to upgrade such levied units. And if you levy troops from a city-state, receive 2 additional envoys with that city-state. Holy cow, is that outstanding. In addition, gain the Black Army unique unit when the castle's technology is researched. Black Army unit, we'll get to that a little bit later. Really solid unit. But let's talk about those first parts. Even if you take away everything else and just give you 75% reduction in cost in gold and resources, and then the 2 movement and plus 5 strength, that's for 30 turns. You levy those units from a city-state, and you get 30 turns with those units. In addition, because you're getting the extra 2 envoys, it becomes extremely difficult for your opponent to actually take those units away by becoming their suzerain, because in addition to already being their suzerain to levy the units, you're getting additional envoys to stay well ahead of the competition. Those free envoys that you can get at any time, even at some point where you don't even need an army, but you just want some envoys with a particular, you just want to increase the envoys you have with a particular city-state in order to give yourself a cushion. For a small amount of gold, you can simply levy those units and get the envoys. And so it's free envoys whenever you want, or not free envoys, but virtually free envoys whenever you want. Now, when Gathering Storm actually originally came out, it was actually free upgrades, no gold or resources needed. And they actually nerfed it a little bit to make it required. But at the same time, with the 75% less cost for upgrading, it's still extremely inexpensive. So, that is unbelievable. Like I said, unbelievable strength. The extra movement and extra strength. So in addition to that, as soon as you levy the units, you can move much quicker to your opponent, get the war started much quicker, and of course hit them with even more strength with the extra combat strength. And then the upgrades is great. So if, for instance, you levy some warriors and you've got the ability to make swordsmen, boom, you go from recruiting warriors at a very cheap price and upgrading them into swordsmen, which are fantastic. Okay, that's that. And then again, like I said, you get the Black Army as well. It's a fantastic ability. It's unbelievable. And you will see that ability on display in this playthrough. Very, very much so. The second ability, the Pearl of the Danube, plus 50% production to districts and buildings constructed across a river from a city center. Now, before I talk a little bit about how amazing it is, let's talk a little bit about the history behind this. Where this actually comes from is the capital of Hungary, which is known as Budapest, was actually originally 2 different cities. There was actually 2 cities on opposing sides of a river, one named Buda and one named Pest. And as those cities grew into kind of the central trade node across the known world, they kind of expanded into the river and became one mesh city. And so those 2 cities, in addition to a third rural city, became all known as Budapest. And so it kind of gives credence to the idea of, hey, these 2 cities grow so big that they become one city, and you have this advantage of, conglomerating 2 cities into one. So they give you an advantage of having additional production in constructing districts because of the strength of that city. So that's kind of the history behind it. And then, like I said, 50% production to districts and buildings constructed across a river. That is unbelievably strong. If you get on a continent or a Pangea map or whatever where you've got lots of rivers around, you can strategically place your cities so that you can have 2 or perhaps 3, or even if you get really lucky, even maybe 4 districts across the river from your city center. And that's going to allow you to very, very quickly get those districts built. But in addition to that, it also includes the buildings. So you're going to get your libraries and your universities and your theater square buildings like your amphitheater all built that much faster than everybody else in all of your cities for the districts across the river. And that increase in production, by having to spend less production, that means you're going to have all those extra turns after you've built those to spend time on other things. And of course, since you don't really need to build an army because you can levy the army, you've got faster districts, faster buildings, and the lack of need to actually build an army. And you combine all of that, and it gives you so much more time in your cities to do other things, like build wonders, or, build more districts more quickly, and push yourself towards the end of the game that much more fast. Okay, those 2 abilities are amazing. I don't need to say any more about it. The thermal bath is a solid kind of special building, if you will. It's not amazing. It's kind of got some role play aspects to it if you play it out in the future to a different kind of a playthrough than we're doing here. You can get some extra amenities, some extra tourism for just having a casual, fun playthrough with these guys. It's a fun little building to have. And then the 2 unique units, I'll spend a little bit of time here to let you know. The Hussar, not a big fan of it. If you're fighting military battles in the industrial era, you're likely going for a domination victory, right? Makes most sense. And if that's the case, then it's getting towards the end of the game, and you're probably not going to have any alliances in a military game where you're trying to kill everybody. So getting extra combat strength for having alliances in a military game is like, does it really make a whole lot of sense? But the Black Army, however, gives you the extra combat strength for adjacent levied units, and it comes significantly earlier in the medieval era, where you can actually possibly take advantage of it by spending a little time building 1 or 2 or 3 of these Black Armies, and then kind of mixing them in with the armies that you've levied and going to town. Now, I will say, like I said, I don't really see a lot of sense in really building a lot of units because you can levy those units for so cheap. And basically, it's just free military. So, Black Army is a solid unit, not necessarily even needed, considering how incredibly powerful Raven King is, and of course, the Pearl of the Danube. Now, that's Matthias, and that's why he is so strong. Now, let's talk about what you're going to see coming in the future. These future episodes. This is episode 0. You're going to see episode 1, and so on, down to the end. And of course, not too many episodes because it's a sub 200 victory. I'm not going to tell you how many turns, but it's under 200. And it's not 199. But that's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Now, what you're going to see is actual cut up segments of a live stream video. So I actually recorded this I streamed it over 3 days on Twitch. And over the course of those 3 days, we just played the game through normally. I was just streaming. You're going to see a lot of conversation with chat from Twitch. So you're going to see conversations that have nothing to do with the game. You'll see conversations that have something to do with the game, but maybe not entirely. And of course, you'll see conversations about the game specifically that will be very interesting. So I apologize, but it's not going to be a solid playthrough of straight gameplay. There are going to be interruptions from time to time for conversation. And of course, it also means, because it wasn't meant for YouTube at the time, you're not going to see the intros and the outros. So you're not going to see welcome to another edition of, and you're not going to see have a nice day. You're not going to see requests for likes and subscriptions and comments. It's just going to be, the video is going to start. It's going to cut right into gameplay. The video will end, essentially probably at the end of a turn each time. Okay. And then you'll start, maybe not the very next turn, but, a turn or 2 or 3 or 5 later, the next episode will start. and it will cut right in. So, since you're not going to hear it at any time in the future, let me just say it once right now for all of you out there who want to help me out. Please, if you're enjoying the videos, just go ahead and hit that like button each and every time. It's just the one little click of a button. You like the video, it helps me out a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Also, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's not going to cost you anything, but it will help me out. I am making currently, at this time, a push to 1,000 subscribers, which will be a big help for me. Finally, if you have any questions about what you're seeing, if you have any comments, if you just want to tell me how great it is, or maybe you want to tell me something that maybe I missed or did wrong that you think I should have done differently, go ahead and leave comments down below. I will be checking them. If you leave a comment, I promise you within a few hours, I might be asleep when you leave it, but at some point soon, I will get a comment back to you. I will let you know what I think about the comment. I will answer the questions as best I can. Please, like, subscribe, and comment. That's all I got to say. I appreciate it very much. Now, without further ado, enjoy the series.